Hello and welcome to Global Fashion Workshop. Let me remind you that we post a new video 3 times a week. Please pay attention to the sketch. I thought 3 videos on this dress would be enough, but the dress turned out to be complex. The videos are long, there's a lot of very useful information, a lot to delve into and understand, so I decided we'll probably have 4 videos. But then we also planned on making a tutorial on how to make the ruffle, how to finish the corners and free edges, and how to combine it all with the ruffles and gores, this whole area. I understood that there will be 5 videos. So get ready, we've got lots of work to do. And that's how we love it. We have work and we're happy, because when there's no work, we don't know what to do with our hands, or even what to do with our thoughts. All kinds of stuff starts making its way into our minds, so work is our salvation. So when we're busy with work, everything is well. So I have our sketch in front of me. You've seen it in 2 videos already, and now for the 3rd time, because the drafting took 2 whole videos. I have this blush pink ponte roma, a nice and calm color, and this synthetic chiffon, a crepe chiffon. It has these dragonflies. Out of this, I'll make the side gores, the bottom ruffle, and the sleeves, and maybe in the end some kind of small ruffle for the neckline. I haven't decided yet what I'll do for the neckline. Maybe I'll just have an opening here. I don't know yet how it'll look like here. I'm putting this aside. This video will be in 2 parts. First, we'll cut out the pieces in ponte roma. I'll remind you again about the lines. In the second part, we'll cut out the chiffon. The pieces will be the gores, the ruffles, and the sleeves. And now, all attention on the table. Note that we don't have a center back seam, so we have a fold here and here. My fabric width allowed me to lay these pieces this way, in one width. You'll have to see with your fabric how your pieces fit. I have about 1.5 meters here. You could also place the pieces in different directions and here overlap the fabric a little bit. If someone has a bigger size or narrower fabric, but I was lucky and everything fits really nicely. In the center back, I don't have a seam. There's no shaping here, so I'm making this fisheye dart. Those who need, you can also add darts here. You could have these waist darts in the front. It won't take away from the look of the dress. Those who want a looser dress, that's also great. All these variations are great, and you'll see how it looks during the fitting. But these back darts, I think it's best to make them right away. Now the main thing is these parts. We have 3 lines, the stitching line, the fold line, and the stitching line. So this line will match this line. And same thing here. The first line will match this line. And in the middle, we'll make a basting stitch and press. And that's how we'll get the free edge, which will overlap the ruffle, the gore, etc. I think everything is done correctly. We worked well, and now we're ready to cut. Here I already have my seam allowances, here I don't. And when you'll be preparing your pattern, please write details on everything. We'll have a very interesting tutorial. We'll be doing it with Natasha, so stay tuned. Don't abandon the videos halfway. These are educational videos and we're doing our best to convey the information. See how convenient it is that I already added seam allowances. Now I have nothing to think about, simply cut along the paper. Notice that I'm not adding anything at the arm side depth. I didn't add at the arm side depth, only in the width. Everything is well thought out. The work is done. Now I'll cut out the second piece and we'll show you how I'll trace these lines so that we can give them for the basting stitches to be done. I'll cut out this piece now exactly the same way. Here along the pattern. Here I won't add anything in depth so it matches. And here I'll add as usual. You see how I did it. I cut out both pieces exactly the same way. It's so pleasant to work with a nice basic sloper when you know that you have a great fit, when you're working on the design, on the lines, to make everything beautiful, and you don't have to worry about whether it'll fit right or it won't. Because if it didn't have the right fit to begin with, all this work would have been useless, that's for sure. I marked the waist dart here, and look here. When I was pinning this pattern piece, I pinned along this line here, which we need to trace. Here it is. This way, yes. And once we remove the pins, we'll be transferring the lines again with the help of pins. I traced the line. Here we'll have a basting stitch with white thread. We won't be able to make it straight without the basting stitch. Now I'm removing the pins. Yes, I also have a small dart from the neckline. So, I'm removing all the pins. I'll show you now how to transfer from one side to the other. I'm carefully turning it over. Very thoroughly. The lines must be perfect, so trace everything perfectly. Someone will trace with chalk, but you could also use a heat erasable marker. That's even more precise. Watch how I'm doing it. You see, I pinned it. I'm turning it over again. I'll just show in one piece how I'm working with the lines. Then we'll have the tutorial and then the basting and fitting. Because first we need to show the tutorial. We can already give this piece to be basted. I'll show you now. And this piece we'll prepare behind the camera. I'll show you now. Here also I need to transfer the bust dart and this line, and that's it. This is the back. Here we'll baste this line and then we'll press very carefully along the basting, this way. Then here we'll make the mitered corners. Here 1 centimeter from the edge we'll have a seam into which we'll be stitching our ruffles, gores, etc. I'm putting this away for now. Now I'll lay out the chiffon. I need to cut 2 ruffles, width of 90 centimeters and length of 16 centimeters. I'm making width 92 and length 18 with the seam allowances. When you'll be cutting your chiffon, of course it wants to shift in all directions. See here, I put the edge along a ruler, this cut edge. I placed straight along the ruler, and then I traced the cutting lines with the help of the straight angle ruler to ensure that they're straight. So now carefully, without pins, I'll start cutting. Why without pins? Because when you're pinning it, you can shift everything out of place, and we can't allow that. Without pins. All these methods to cut chiffon over some fabric, I can't do that. Maybe it works for someone, but for sure not for me. I traced everything perfectly straight. Now I'll cut out 2 ruffles. The front and back are ready. Now we're cutting 2 ruffles. I'm making sure that the lines are perfectly straight and then holding my hand like this. I'm cutting a beautiful line. Then I'll have the gores and the sleeves left to cut out. Here are our ruffles, such joyful dragonflies. I asked why such a large piece of fabric. Natasha said that's how it was sold. The gore has the center line, which is the grain line. You can't place it on the fabric any which way. The line has to be parallel to the fold. Now I'll pin everything. The piece already has seam allowances. As for the sleeve, I want to widen it a bit. Add just a tiny bit of gathering on top. So I'll slash and spread it a tiny bit. I'll show you how. So let's see what we have here. We have here 18, here 15. Check in one more time. 18. I'm showing you what to pay attention to. Yes, this way, so that this line is parallel to this one. You can't place it any other way, otherwise the gore will twist in all directions. I'm pinning here a bit, very carefully, not to distort anything. Just a few pins here. I always repeat the same thing. How pleasant it is to cut when everything is thought out in advance. But when the work is not well thought through, and then you get all kinds of surprises in the process. And it doesn't only happen with complex dresses. You can get surprises with simple dresses too. So I always say, technical expertise is the guide into our future wonderful life. It will be wonderful with the help of technical expertise. It will help us.
О.
If I would have pinned now along the whole perimeter, imagine how distorted the fabric would have been. And this way it's coming out perfectly straight. I'm doing this on camera on purpose so you can see. The gore is ready, the ruffles are ready, we just have the sleeves left. Always have a ruler on your table. Place it along the edge like this. This helps to see that the edge is on the grain line. My sleeve length is just below the elbow. 44, yes, I love this kind of sleeve. I don't like long sleeves. It's really unnecessary for me. I think this is the front. Oh, there's a mark on that side. Oh, see how Irina Baukst is shifting everything already? So the ruler is showing us. Irina isn't being careful and is shifting everything. This way, I'm spreading by about 2 centimeters, just a bit, to make it slightly wider, because after all, it's chiffon. I thought initially we'll just show the drafting and that's it. But I see now that we'll be sewing this garment. The sundress / jumpsuit for Olya we're finishing to sew it. By the way, it fits amazingly well. Stay tuned for a review of the finished garment. But this dress, I was sure I just showed the drafting. But as we're working, I'm thinking, we invested so much labor into it. We have to actually make this dress. And then it's coming out so beautifully. I like these dragonflies. So, we'll finish it and then we'll see. If it turns out to be unnecessary, well, we could gift it to someone. It's important to do good deeds sometimes. We'll gather the cap a little bit. It's good no one is telling me off that I'm stretching and cutting like this. When I see in the atelier the girls get lazy and don't want to go around the table to cut from the other side and instead stretch like this and cut, of course I tell them off. But that's them and this is me. I have special rights here. I'm putting a notch to indicate that this is the front. And here's the center. We have all the details, the sleeve is ready, the gore is ready, the ruffle is ready, the front and back pieces are ready. We'll prepare everything in advance to show you. We'll baste the lines, the darts, then we'll make the tutorial. And I hope that then we'll have the fitting and later have a video with a finished garment review. I hope that our lessons are helping you to be different and reinvent yourselves every day, because it's terrible. To be the same all the time, every day, it's terrible, really terrible. We need to move away from that. I'm grateful that we have subscribers that write to us, that they have bright and interesting wardrobes, that they create themselves. Girls, you are great. I'm very happy that our work is not in vain, and your results prove that to us. On this note, I'm saying goodbye. Click like, share our videos on social media, subscribe to our channel, and stay with us. All the best for myself, Irina Paukšte, and our entire team.